Hey there, YouTube. I wanted to make a quick video here about this radio that I have. This is a 1947 RCA Victor. It's a tube radio. It's original and it's in really nice condition. Here, let me turn it on for you here. I picked this radio up as a gift for my dad. He is a big, radio fan. He's in his 80s, and up there's the radio. And it really has a really nice sound to it, you don't really find that kind of sound anymore. And I don't know if you've noticed yet.
And fine tobacco means real deep down smoking enjoyment for you. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
You really just don't hear that kind of stuff anymore. Yeah, so in case you haven't noticed, this radio was a little bit unique in the fact that it's not necessarily playing, what's on the airwaves right now in 2026. Here, I'll keep tuning around for you.
Of a hurry for the truck now. You see, the electricity is off. Well, here is what that rather bland statement.
So as you can tell, this radio is playing 1940s content, and that's obviously done on purpose. This is a project of mine. It really turned out nice. I just finished it. So basically here, let me kind of give you the high level of this project here. So I don't know if you're familiar with a project called Field Station 42. Now Field Station 42 is a cable box simulator. And I did a project on that. I made a 2000 a year 2000 simulated cable experience. And that really turned out really nice, and I really enjoyed it. There's something to say about tuning through, the stations on your cable TV in the year 2000. I mean, it's just a really unique experience, and you can make that any year you want. A lot of folks do the 90s or even the 80s or whatever to simulate that kind of experience. And one thing that I noticed was that. I was trying to think, how can I share this experience with my dad, who's in his 80s? And, TV was impactful for him, but not nearly as much as, I would say 40s radio. So what I did here...
Liquor? Yeah, that's the stuff that keeps you pickled in the middle with the ice bag on top.
I mean, this is completely awesome. So basically what I did was I took the Field Station 42 idea, and it's not an original idea. There's another guy who made a vintage radio as well. So I'm not the first to do this, but I still want to share my project here. So basically I'll give you kind of the high level on this. So this radio is a 1947 RCA Victor. It's in really nice condition. It has, a little bit of scratches here and there, but I think for being 80 years old, it's looking really nice. It's running a Raspberry Pi 5, and it has about 128 gigs of content.
Ranging from 25 to 35 in South Dakota and Wyoming, and west of the continental divide in
And that actually ends up being about 1,500 hours of content, which is a lot. It has 21 stations, and not only does it have the stations, but it also has music and news and, you know, all kinds of period appropriate content. I targeted 1947 because that's when my dad was about 8 or 9 years old, and that's probably when he was, you know, listening to his programs as a kid, right? You know, The Shadow, The Whistler, you know, all these different kind of programs. And this radio has that. It has about 300 episodes of each, so it's basically unlimited content. Now, I actually used Claude to code this. I did not use the Field Station 42 code base, although I could have. Yeah, and I think the other guy actually did use the Field Station, which would probably have been easier. But for me, it just made more sense that, you know, here's what I want, here's how I want it to happen. And so I just used Claude, and I coded the whole thing with Claude. And the way it works is, so this is a music channel right here. These work, by the way. So this is the original radio hardware. This is the potentiometer here, which is a volume control and power switch. And then I have a rotary encoder behind this knob here to determine, you know, where the needle is up here. And that's all original, like the original string that makes that all work is still in place and all that. So this is a music channel here. And there's music, there's a 75% chance of music in between channels. The other 25% would be news. So, and there's a lot of music. I mean, there's probably, you know, 600 songs from the 40s. So you won't really hear the same music again either. But anyway, so let me show you the tuning. So let's just tune down, for example. So this should be a content station next. So let's see. A little bit of static. There we go. And it's very realistic tuning into the station too.
Mabel, you're just jealous because Mr. Benny went out with...
Jack Benny, that's what this is.
I promised not to tell. Oh, come on, Gertrude. I always tell you everything.
And then if we tune again, so this will be either music
This summer
or
I went out
news.
with Mr. Benny.
Music. And that goes on like that, you know, across the 21 stations. And what's really neat is that you could go back too. So, and it keeps pace too. So,
Gee, what did he say about it?
and that is just like the coolest thing. I have been having so much fun with it. And I'll be gifting this to my dad this weekend. Now, so what I did here was I took a Raspberry Pi 5, and it actually has an amplifier and all the circuitry to make it work inside. So again, that was all done, you know, with help with Claude, which is amazing, by the way. But if you wanted to do something like this, you know, a good starting point would probably be Field Station 42. Check them out on GitHub. And they may even be making a radio version. So behind this knob here, I have, I believe it's called a rotary encoder, I think is the name of it. And that basically determines which direction and how fast this knob is moving. And the original radio, you know, hardware equipment causes the needle to move on the top up there. And it's roughly about
Looks very pert. She's got
on the
very dark
marks.
hair, dark lashes. She has a lovely smile. White teeth, presumably your own. Is that right?
So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share my project here,
And she's wearing
and
is that a
you know, just kind of, you know, show that this kind of thing can be done. And I just had just a real blast making it. And it's going to be really cool. I think Dad's really going to like it too. So, yeah. Well, thanks for checking out my video, and have a good day.